Burlington City Council on September 6, 2016. Appreciate you adjusting to our time schedule. So I'd like to take a moment to ask everyone to please silence all electronic devices. Is this too loud? I can almost hear myself echo. So, all right. It's my honor to give tonight's invocation. We're thankful for this day that has been given to us, for its opportunities and its challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We ask for strength, insight, wisdom, and guidance, keeping in mind always the enduring values of life, exerting our efforts in those areas and on those things upon which future generations can build with confidence. Amen. Right, we have a couple of proclamations to present this afternoon. It's my honor to present this proclamation proclaiming Constitution Day and Citizenship Day and Constitution Week for 2016. Whereas our founding fathers, in order to secure the blessings of liberty for themselves and their posterity, did ordain and establish a Constitution for the United States of America. And whereas at the culmination of months of deliberation, debate, and compromise on September 17, 1787, the Constitution of the United States of America was signed. And whereas September 17, 2016 marks the 229th anniversary of the signing of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas through all its changes over the years, the Constitutional's foundation has endured and adapted and is the supreme law of our land. And whereas Constitution Day and Citizenship Day are celebrated on September 17th each year during the celebration of Constitution Week, September 17th through September 23rd. And whereas the adoption of the Constitution and the independence guaranteed to all American citizens, whether by birth or by naturalization, should be celebrated by appropriate ceremonies and activities during Constitution Week. Now, therefore, I, Ian Baltutis, Mayor of the City of Burlington, do hereby proclaim September 17th, 2016 as Constitution Day and Citizenship Day, and September 17th through September 23rd, 2016 as Constitution Week. I encourage governmental leaders as well as leaders of civic, social, and educational organizations to conduct ceremonies and programs that bring together community members to reflect on the importance of active citizenship, recognize the enduring strength of our Constitution, and reaffirm our commitment to the rights and obligations of citizens in this great nation. Furthermore, I urge all citizens of Burlington to reflect upon this week on the many benefits of the federal Constitution and the responsibilities and privileges of American citizenship. This time we recognize Councilmember Bob Ward for a couple of comments.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a privilege of serving as chair of the Constitutional Rights and Responsibilities section of the North Carolina Bar Association this year. And our primary function, quite frankly, is to make the public aware and remind them of our Constitution. I know it's used a lot, and people make reference to it, but sometimes, they really don't fully appreciate the significance of it. It is probably the one most singular, recognized, and most beneficial document that's ever been adopted in modern society. And our goal is to help people, make them aware of this, and this is one way we're doing it. And we've asked with the help of Renee Ward, we've asked some other cities to circulate it and do the same thing. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. This time, Council recognizes Martha Mason regarding a proclamation for Arbor Day.
Well, we appreciate everything. I'm the chairman of the Burlington Tree and Parents Commission, and along with the commission, we appreciate everything that the council does to support what we're doing. We will be part of the Carousel Festival not this weekend, the next weekend, 17th and 18th, and we invite you all to come out. We have a tree giveaway courtesy of the New Leaf Society, and we have, I believe this is our 22nd year of Arbor Day celebration in Tree City.
Excellent. Let me come down there and present this proclamation. It's my honor to present this proclamation proclaiming Saturday, September 17th, 2016, Arbor Day in the city of Burlington. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this day, which eventually became known as Arbor Day, was initially observed in the state of Nebraska with the planting of over 1 million trees. And whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world. Whereas the important role that trees play in our ecological system must not be taken for granted. Trees can reduce topsoil erosion, reduce heating and cooling costs, moderate ambient temperatures, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitats for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource from which numerous products are derived, such as paper, materials for the construction industry, and fuel for heating. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of beauty, joy, and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, Ian Baltutis, Mayor of the City of Burlington, do hereby proclaim Saturday, September 17th, 2016, as Arbor Day in the City of Burlington. Furthermore, I urge all residents to support efforts to protect our trees and to preserve our woodlands for future generations.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. So I'll give it a go.
Thank you.
This time we recognize Chief Smythe and Chief Smith.
First of all, thank you again this year for the proclamation, and we appreciate the support of the council and the citizens of Burlington. It's been, it's always a difficult time for us to reflect back on that, but the community and everyone's really supported emergency services in Burlington and throughout the country, and we appreciate your continuation of that.
So this time it's my honor to present this proclamation proclaiming a moment of remembrance on September 11th, 2016 in the city of Burlington. Whereas people across our great nation and the entire globe collectively witnessed an event of immense tragedy on September 11th, 2001, when terrorist attacks took the lives of almost 3,000 innocent people on American soil. And whereas the events of that day instantly transformed the lives of Americans through both personal experience and an unfamiliar sense of individual and national vulnerability. And whereas an unprecedented, historic nexus of Americans rose from the tragedy, unifying the country in an outpouring of national pride, selflessness, generosity, courage, and service. And whereas many first responders and civilians tirelessly and courageously participated in the dangerous rescue and recovery efforts, risking or forfeiting their lives for the safety of others. And whereas the brave men and women who serve in our nation's military were called upon to leave their families and risk their lives to fight and defend America. And whereas Sunday, September 11th, 2016, will be the 15th anniversary of the 9/11 tragedy. Now, therefore, I, Ian Baltutis, Mayor of the City of Burlington, do hereby proclaim a moment of remembrance on September 11th, 2016, in the City of Burlington. Furthermore, I call on our city's first responders, houses of worship, businesses, schools, and citizens alike to join our nation in sounding sirens and ringing bells for 1 minute at 8:46 a.m. on Sunday, September 11th, 2016, in honor of those who lost their lives and loved ones 14 years ago on this day.
Mayor, I'd like to add that in the past, we always invite you guys to come to the fire stations and police station, and we'll have people out and they'll do stand things and do our sirens. Interested.
Thank you. This time, council recognizes City Clerk Renee Ward.
Members of council, it's my responsibility to remind you of your duty to avoid conflicts of interest in matters that are before us. This time, I ask if there are any potential conflicts concerning tonight's agenda items.
No. We have minutes from August 15th, 2016's work session and August 16th City Council meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We have one consent add-on agenda item, item D, to set a date of public hearing for CAPER. Do I hear a motion regarding this add-on item?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This time we have the agenda before us. Do I hear a motion regarding adopting the agenda?
We adopt the agenda with the add-on.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This time we have our consent agenda. These items are typically non-controversial. If anyone has any questions, please let us know. Item A, to reclassify the Cemetery and Grounds Assistant Superintendent position, level 18 to level 22, effective upon council approval. Item B, to adopt ordinances requiring the demolition of buildings on the following properties: 1437 Duggins Drive, 414 New Street, 1013 North Park Avenue, 1466 Morningside Drive, and 1133 Jackson Street. Item C, Budget Amendment 2017-12, Police 911 Backup Center, as spelled out in your agenda. Item D, to set a date of public hearing for September 20th, 2016, for citizens to comment on the Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report, otherwise known as CAPER, for the Community Development Program year 2015 to 2016. Do I hear a motion regarding the items on our consent agenda?
Move we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? We have a number of items of new business. Item 1, council will consider a request to temporarily close Front Street from Main Street to Worth Street during the Walk to End Alzheimer's event, sponsored by the Alzheimer's Association, on Saturday, September 24th, 2016, from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., conditional upon meeting requirements of the City of Burlington's special event permit application. At this time, council recognizes Caitlin Fox. Welcome, Caitlin.
Thanks.
You could just give us a...
The Walk to End Alzheimer's has been held in downtown Burlington for at least the last 5 years, and the Walk to End Alzheimer's works to raise funds and awareness for individuals with Alzheimer's disease and other related dementias.
All right. Any questions from council regarding this request? Thank you, Caitlin. Do I hear a motion regarding the request?
Make a motion that we approve the request as stated.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion is passed. Item 2, City Council will consider a request to temporarily close Front Street from Main Street to Spring Street during the Burlington's Maker Takeover, sponsored by Alamance Makers Guild on Saturday, October 15, 2016, from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m., conditional upon meeting requirements of the City of Burlington's special event permit. This time, council recognizes Bennett Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. This is our second annual Burlington Maker Takeover. We did one last summer for the President's Week of Making. This year we moved it out to October. It's an open event, free to the public, with live performances, music, theater groups, also food trucks, maker exhibits, demos, school groups. And we want to include more downtown businesses, so we'd like to request the closure of Front Street for safety so that we can place some exhibits along that area of Front Street. Main Street would continue to be able to flow turning left, so we would not be closing off the end of Main Street, and there would be no impedance on Spring Street. It would flow normally.
Any questions from council? Thank you. Do I hear a motion regarding this item?
Move that we approve the request.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Yep. Motion is passed. Thank you very much. Item 3, City Council will consider approving the Willowbrook Park Stream Restoration Design Contract in the amount of $114,319 and Budget Amendment 2017-5 as spelled out in your agenda. This time, council recognizes Water Resources Field Operations Manager Michael Lane.
I've presented this before at a work session. talk about it at that point in time, but wanted to bring it back up again before the contract was approved. And what we have is, all of you are familiar with Willowbrook Park, I'm sure. The project extent is from Front Street down to Church Street. And what we are considering is a stream restoration project. And the reasons that we are considering this project, or we want to move forward with this project, there are several reasons. First is we have some erosion along the stream banks. And that erosion is encroaching upon our infrastructure. So we have sewer lines that parallel one side of it. We have East Willowbrook Street that parallels the other side. And the erosion is encroaching on Willowbrook Street. And so we need to do some repairs on that. So that will be included in this project. Also, we have some concerns with, or we've had some concerns from some of the citizens about the aesthetics of the park associated with the stream buffers that are in the park. And so one of the goals of this project would be to help improve some of those aesthetics. And what we would, well, I'll get to that in a minute, but that's one of the other drivers of it. The final driver is we have one stream in Burlington that's listed as impaired by the state, and it's Little Alamance Creek. And this park is within the Little Alamance Creek watershed. And so there have been several studies done by the state, and we also completed a watershed restoration plan ourselves. And one of the areas that was identified as a potential location for doing some positive projects to help restore the biological integrity, which is what it's impaired for, is Willowbrook Park and the other city park. The city park was done as part of an EEP project. So one of the areas that we can get some good bang for our buck is within Willowbrook Park. And the goal of this effort will be to improve the aesthetics. As you can see in the photo here, that currently what we have is this situation where you cannot see through the buffer. Along with this project, we'll still have to restore the buffer, but what we will do is we will target getting a buffer that looks more like the picture on the bottom right, which is high canopy trees that are pruned so that we can see through the buffer, and then maybe some low grasses that go along the bottom so that we don't have the overgrowth which we've experienced over City Park. So this will be carefully designed and coordinated with landscape architects to ensure that the target is achieved, because we certainly don't want to duplicate what we have going on in City Park now. We've learned a lot from that project, and we certainly don't want to do that again. Let's see. So the other goal will be to reduce erosion. Back in, I believe it was in the 80s, there was a stream restoration project done on a section of it, but that stream restoration is also failing, so we would include that as part of this project as well. But we have some serious erosion in some of these areas, and it's continuing to get worse. And unless we do something, it's going to drastically impact our infrastructure. The other thing we have is we hope to reduce flooding, and so the way we would do that is we're going to try to stay within the stream banks as much as possible. There will be some cutting of some of the banks, but if you look in the photo here, you'll see a sandbar where the creek is meandering, and that's where it's deposited as sand during flood events. And so what we would hope to do is either eliminate or at least reduce the amount of that the height of that sandbar to increase the flood storage within the stream banks itself. So on the other side of the creek, you can see where it's a steep bank straight up and down, it's vertical. We would have to cut back into it at an angle to provide some extra stabilization as well as flood capacity. Of course, the ultimate goal of this, as far as the impairment is concerned, all these efforts and steps will be taken in an effort to restore biological integrity. Now, we don't know that it hasn't been proven that small segments of stream like this can restore biological integrity alone. So there'll be other efforts that the Stormwater Division will be incorporating into that watershed. So this won't be the only approach that we have going on, but this will be part of our approach. And one of the goals of our watershed restoration plan is to restore the section of the creek. So back in, it was the beginning of this year, we put out a request for qualifications, and we finally decided that we would go with Ecosystems Planning and Restoration. It's called EPR for short, as our consulting firm, based upon their qualifications. And as we get, if y'all have any questions for them, Emmett Purdue is here with EPR, and so if you have any questions, he can certainly answer those. But they will be our consultant on this project, and they have a wealth of knowledge in stream restoration, and we'll be coordinating pretty closely with Parks and Rec Department as well as the New Leaf Society in an effort to make sure that the product that we get is something that's pleasing and fits well into the park there. As you know, the park is linear, and a big stream or a large stream buffer would eat up the park, and so that's not the goal of this project. The goal of this project is to restore the stream buffers in pretty much the same footprint that they are now, but to make it where it's more aesthetically pleasing and more and improve visibility. So that's the end of the presentation. Of course, we are requesting that you approve the contract with EPR and the budget amendment that is included in the packet as part of this request. I'm open for any questions.
This is not a state mandated project. This is something we're doing preemptively to try to make it better on our own.
Correct.
Okay.
The state proposed doing a restoration project in Woodward Park, and we opted out of that simply because of the buffer requirements that are associated with the EEP projects for the Mountain Vision Mitigation Services. But it would have really negatively impacted that park had we gone with that project. So we're going to it'll be a concerted effort to make sure that we are not following that same path that we did City Park.
So preemptively, we can make it more aesthetic and have it sort of behave the way we want it to, as opposed to what we have at City Park.
Now, granted, for the first few years, there will be some growth in it that
Sure.
we'll have to go in and manage and maintain, and it won't look exactly like we hope it will in the end. But because trees take time to grow.
Yeah.
And so what has to happen is the trees have to grow. We have to get some canopy over it and start shading out some of the other undergrowth. Also, along with that, we would go in and we would remove invasive species. And mostly what you see out there now is invasive species, a lot of privet, things of that nature. And so we would remove those and keep those from growing up and become like a green curtain that you can't see through. And so that would be part of our process moving forward. We're also integrating that at City Park at this point.
I know there's the Arboretum plan for that area as well. Can you talk about how those plans would work with each other, so we're not overlapping anything?
Right. So the New Leaf Society has an architect firm on board, and we have been communicating with the New Leaf Society over the past few months. And we have built into the scope meetings with New Leaf Society as well as their consultant to make sure that we coordinate this project really closely with them and make sure the landscaping fits into the future projects there.
Michael, you and I have walked a lot of streams together here. With the restoration of Willowbrook Park stream, I'm sure we're going to get calls back away. You can't come to my neighborhood and do my stream the same way.
Right.
Okay. So what is your answer to us telling constituents about that?
Well, I don't know that we would tell them no right up front. What we do, we have this one watershed that's listed as impaired, and so we're putting a lot of effort into this watershed to try to get it back to standards and delist it. So that's our focus at this point. We will then move outside of that. There are areas outside of the park here and outside of the watershed that need some attention, but most of those are not on public property. And so because they're not on public property, it's much more difficult for us to complete a project in that location. Really the way it works is if a stream is in somebody's backyard, it's on their private property and they have ownership and maintenance of that stream. And so we consult with people often about that. But, it's something that we can explore as we move forward. Whether or not we want to, there are other municipalities that do work on private property. It's a really expensive and time-consuming process, and it's something that we would have to take a real hard, strong, fast look at before we agree to doing something of that nature.
Yeah.
But we would meet with them on site. We would give them options. We would walk them through construction processes and try to hold their hand if they wanted to do some work on their property.
Yeah. And I can appreciate the time that you've given me and going out to look at these creeks and things.
Well, we appreciate you taking interest in it.
It's because they call me.
Any-
Thank you, Michael.
Any other questions from council?
This is essentially the consultation on this, correct?
That's correct.
And so the work will be done how?
What would happen is the consultant will go through, they'll do survey, they'll do complete design, they'll complete permitting, and they will give us a deliverable bid package, and then bid package will be put out for bid for contractors. And the contractors that do this type of work are pretty selective, so they're specialized. So we would want to use some of those contractors. And then also included in this contract is construction services, so they would oversee construction, because frankly, internally, we don't have expertise in stream restoration, which is why we need EPR to help us. And they would provide us with as-built once the project is completed to make sure that it was built according to design.
Any other questions? Thank you. Do I hear a motion from council?
Move we approve the contract and approve the budget amendment 2017-5.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Thank you. Item number 4, City Council will consider a request to provide sanitary sewer services to property located at 117 Southern High School Road, located south of Graham. At this time, council recognizes Senior Planner Daniel Softner.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, I've had an opportunity to speak with the petitioner and the optionee just prior to the meeting.
Okay.
And they have requested this matter be put over to the 20th, September 20th, to be heard at that point in time. They need an additional signature on their annexation petition.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Do we need a motion to move that over? Or that's a request?
If you would, go ahead.
I'd make a motion that we move this item to the 20th meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? So that item is moved to the 20th meeting. We have no public comment. A couple council comments. I would like to invite members of the public in the city to join us for a fundraising cookout at the Times News parking lot on September 14th from 11:30 a.m. until 2 p.m. Hot dogs, hamburgers, chips, and Smitty's ice cream. Come on out, help us support United Way. We're appreciative of the Times News, LabCorp, and the city for sponsoring that event. So the Maker Roundtable will be held on September 13th from 1 to 5 p.m. at the Kernodle Senior Center. Members of the county present talking about how we incorporate the Maker movement into our community. As mentioned earlier, Carousel Festival is coming up September 17th and 18th. This is the largest festival in our city. Look forward to seeing everyone out there in City Park. And a big thank you to our police officers and to our citizens for coming together in the See Something, Say Something campaign. There's a great YouTube video with over 50 of our police officers saying thank you to the community out there. I encourage you to look up that video. And remember, if you see something, say something, call Crime Stoppers at 229-7100. Any other comments from council?
Mayor, Kathy, go ahead.
One thing, I want to publicly congratulate Dorothy Yarborough and the Burlington Housing Authority on the awards that they got this past weekend, which is pretty exciting. And I just wanted to let you know that I attended a seminar that talked about health in all policies. The health department and the hospital and Impact Elements were a part of that. And they talked about health in a broader way than just looking at hospitals and healthcare and that kind of thing, but really very much what it is that we are doing with Destination Burlington in looking at making a healthy community. So I think you'll be hearing more about it, but I just wanted to let you know that a move is afoot to talk about how we can look at our policies and collaborate with other agencies, making sure that we have a healthy city all around.
Bob?
Mayor, I'd like to recommend and ask that we cancel the second meeting in December, which is December the 20th. And the reason for requesting that is that, number one, it's a real busy time of the year. It's December the 20th. There's a whole lot going on. And it's, second is that if we cancel it at this point, if that's the wishes of the city council, the staff will have time, to make sure they get things in that need to be handled, not later than the first meeting in December. So.
Any questions regarding that request? Do I hear a motion to?
Is that a motion?
So move.
I'll second that.
All those in favor of canceling the December 20th meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Any other council comments?
I think we decided that we're going to go casual until the temperature goes below 75.
Yeah.
That's a motion.
That's a motion. Do I hear a second?
Yeah.
All right, thank you everyone for attending. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you everyone.